Well, welcome back. How much and how soon should we be talking to our children about pornography? Some studies suggest that as many as 80% of American kids have watched some form of pornography by the time they're 18. Sometimes it's just by accident. They're going to stumble across it. And there are all kinds of messages our teens can receive, of course, from that content.
Well, there is a program now through the Boston Public Health Commission to tackle the issue with teen students. It's called the Start Strong Porn Literacy Program. And the director, Jess Alder, is here, along with one of the peer leaders of the program, Kiara Lynn. Thank you both so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Jess, first to you, what is this porn literacy program, and what is the goal of it?
Yeah. Well, this program was born through the research of Dr. Emily Rothman at Boston University. The story goes that she came in, she talked to her teens about 5 or 6 years ago about some of her research on teen dating violence. It wasn't really exciting for them. So to garner their interest, she said, oh, and I'm also researching porn. And that's when we learned everything. We learned everything all at once. But mostly what stood out to us is that our teens wanted to talk about the information that they were learning. So Nicole Daly, who has now left Start Strong, but she was the former director, she, Dr. Rothman, and I created a porn literacy curriculum based off of Emily's research for her college students, and we made it palatable for our younger audience.
And Carolyn, you're a peer counselor. You're a senior in high school, and so
peer leader.
Sorry, peer leader.
They don't counsel; they lead.
Peer leader. But you go in and you talk to kids in these sessions. What percentage of them would you say tell you that they've already seen pornography?
Oh, most of them.
About 100%?
Like 90% of them, yeah.
What is it that they want to talk about when you're with them in a group? What are some of the things that you hear from them?
They're very excited to learn about how pornography is presented and the different ways we see it, whether it's on social media or directly, and but they don't know much about the behind the scenes, and that's what we want to inform them about.
What kinds of issues will they bring up?
So body shaming, so objectifying women is another
violence.
Big issue, and yeah, male dominance as well.
And Jess, these groups, what's the goal? Is it just to give kids a voice and let them say, I've seen this, I'd like to talk about it? Are you trying to, help them understand what it is they're seeing and maybe pick out those parts that are toxic? What is the goal of the program?
Yeah, the goal of the porn literacy curriculum is threefold. We want to teach consent, healthy communication, and critical thinking. So Start Strong has a host of media literacy tools that continue this conversation so that teens can have access to understanding their media diet. So for example, we have a sound nutrition label where we use that tool to analyze relationship lyrics so they can understand whether a song is promoting healthy or unhealthy messages. So we took that same theme and applied it to sexually explicit media.
Yeah. How do parents feel about these sessions? Do you go into each of the public schools? How does it work? And what have you heard from parents in terms of feedback?
Sure. So we are not in any schools teaching our porn literacy curriculum. We only teach this curriculum after school settings in programs where the agency is okay having us, the youth want us, and the guardians of the youth are okay with us.
So the parents have given permission for these conversations?
We always need permission from the parents, but for the most part, they are thrilled that someone is taking that off of their plate.
There are going to be people who are detractors of this program who say we shouldn't necessarily be learning how to consume porn in a better way. We should just not be consuming it at all. What would be your reaction to that?
I think something that we can all agree about is that we want ethical, consensual porn to be made, period, and we want people to be treated healthy and we want people to be treated healthfully, regardless of how we decide to approach that. So Start Strong took the position that we were neither pro-porn nor anti-porn. We're looking at the literature, we're looking at the research. We share that with our young people, and then they take that knowledge, apply it to their own value, their own family system, and they go from there.
Kiara Lynn, is there something you learned from these sessions as you were talking as a peer leader and talking with students, something that you learned as you were going through that process?
Well, I learned there was different types of intimacies other than physical intimacy, because that's what most largely shown on media, let it be movies. about the only way to show love is like through physical affection, and I think that could be misleading because there's other healthy ways to show intimacy with a partner, and I think that was one of the big lessons I took.
Jess Alder and Carolyn, thank you for joining us to talk about it, and it's an important program, important topic for a lot of parents, so we appreciate you coming in.
Thank you guys. This is very interesting.
Thank you so much.
Eric, we're going to go over to you for the forecast now.